Let's bring in our panel. Pauline Hanson's One Nation Chief of Staff, James Ashby, and Spectator Australia columnist, Terry Barnes. Gents, welcome to you both. Can I ask you both, just briefly, James, does John Pesutto know who he's trying to get to vote for him? I mean, that's crazy.
Nope. And this is why the Liberal Party continue to lose election after election in what should be winnable elections in Victoria. It's a basket case down there. The bloke should have signed that petition. No questions asked. The Nationals have got the finger on the pulse in this case.
Terry, crazy?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I wrote a piece on this with the UK Spectator, which was republished in the US. I mean, there's a lot of international interest in this because they can't believe that somebody who created such chaos in the COVID time is getting this honour. I think Mr Pesutto really needs to think again.
Absolutely, and I think the bloke's hopeless, to be honest. But anyway, I'll get onto that on my program tomorrow night. Now, we've got speculation continuing to grow about these locations or not for the Coalition's nuclear plants. They've not confirmed anywhere yet. Locals in the New South Wales town of Lithgow, which has a rich mining history, they were on 2GB today, and they were asked by Ben Fordham, the presenter, if there were to be a nuclear reactor in Lithgow, what would they think? Here's what the reaction was.
But if they say it's coming to Lithgow, you'll vote for it?
Well, I would vote for it, and I think increasingly I'm hearing the disillusion that people have in Lithgow with renewables.
Peter, do you want the nuclear power plant?
Absolutely, Ben. Couldn't think of anything better. I'm currently looking over Pearson's Lookout in the Kapiti Valley right now. It's a truly amazing place, and it needs more employment. Why should Lithgow not power Australia?
We must have nuclear. This area is just magnificent, but it's dying.
Well, James, there's the talkback audience. I mean, whether it's reflective of the entire community, we wouldn't know. But I think the Coalition are onto something with nuclear, and I also think that the federal government underestimates the Australian, our hunger for reliable energy. And if nuclear can provide it, and you can stick one in former mining communities like Lithgow, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, exactly right. Peter Dutton is right to start the debate, even if it is just on the floor of Parliament. I think the community need to have this discussion as well. I'm in central Queensland where I live. We've got a coal-fired power station there, probably the youngest and probably the last one that's due to be retired at Stanwell here in Queensland. But no one has actually heard from Michelle Landry, who is the local member for Capricornia, as to whether she supports Peter Dutton's plan. So unless we hear that the full Coalition are on board, we do need to have a look at those locations, which we've got coal-fired power stations already that Peter Dutton is proposing. We put the nuclear power plants. They are a hell of a lot safer these days than what they were. You know, I know we've heard of terrible cases in other countries, but we're talking about old nuclear technology, which has caused problems for the likes of Japan and over in Russia and other parts of the world. But look, honestly, we've got new technology. There must be a discussion with the public. The scare campaigns, look, you can treat them with scare campaigns all you like, as Labor are trying to do, but 60% of the Australian population are at least warm to the idea of a discussion, and I think that Peter Dutton is on the right path. One Nation will certainly support Peter Dutton if he's to become Prime Minister on that discussion with nuclear.
Terry, it was the coldest day in Melbourne today for 5 years. I had a look on an app this morning at 11 a.m, and at 11 a.m, 98% of electricity in Victoria was being generated by either coal, gas, or a little bit of hydro. The sun was producing 1%, the wind 1%, so 2% in total. And yet the federal government would have us believe that within 5.5 years, we're going to have 85% of our energy produced by renewables. It's not going to happen, is it?
I'll believe that when I see it, Stephen. And really, I think James is right. I think Peter Dutton is on the button when it comes to spruiking nuclear as part of an energy mix. Look, and I grew up in Sydney, Sutherland Shire, within sight of the Lucas Heights nuclear reactor there. And look, I think nuclear power can be safe. It is safe, and it should be part of the mix. But to rely on renewables that are unreliable in weather like we've been having in Melbourne today, and I've been freezing my bum off, just like you, it just goes to the point. We can't rely on the unreliable.
James, South Australian Premier Peter Malinauskas has tossed political donations into the debate today. He plans to ban political donations in a bid to, quote, take the money out of politics. Here's Malinauskas and how he describes it.
Elections should be determined by the quality of candidates, the power of one's ideas. It shouldn't be about money. So if we can level the playing field to ensure that all participants in the political process have access to an appropriate degree of funding relative to their level of support within the community, then we diminish the likelihood that a campaign war chest size informs the outcome.
James, I don't know if he's having a whack at the Teals or who he's trying to have a whack at here. You know so much about how difficult it is to raise funds for a political campaign. I hope Malinauskas is including the union movement in that when he says he's going to ban political donations, is he?
Yeah, precisely. I was going to say the only winners out of this decision that Malinauskas has actually raised here is the Labor Party, because, you know, we talk about these third-party groups that get out there and run campaigns during election cycles, and it's largely the union movement. So if we're going to talk about banning political donations, we've also got to talk about the fact that the unions must be prohibited from playing a part in future elections. Now, here in Queensland, or federally, I sit on the executive of One Nation in Queensland and federally. I know it costs us federally over $1 million a year just to remain compliant with the Electoral Act. That's federally. So that's staff, that's an office, that's making sure we're across the entire act as a total. Now, unless you're raising money for a political party, and let's not forget, every political party in this country has an ABN, so you might as well just treat them as a business. You've got to make sure that they stay afloat and compliant. Now, unless the state government is prepared to chip in all this money, and at the moment I think they get about $3 per vote in South Australia, Malinauskas is probably suggesting that rate's got to go up, because there is a contingent of money that has to be put aside. It doesn't matter whether you're a state or a federal political party. You've got to be able to run them effectively and compliantly, as One Nation do, as most of the political parties do in this country. So this is going to be a debate to watch, but I don't think they're going to get political donations out of the way anytime too soon.
Some of the people we ought to be raising funds for are the parents of our Olympians. Now, I've been watching the swimming trials on 9. Ariane Titmus last night broke the world record. The girl who came second broke the world record. We've got an extraordinary swimming team and a big Olympic team, the biggest ever. But parents are being expected to have to pay up to her, Titmus's parents, $20,000 on tickets to actually watch her swim. Now, Terry, I don't understand this. Surely family members, at least 2, mum and dad, should get free tickets to the games. I mean, in 2000, I was working in media at the Sydney Games. I got free tickets to everything. Why would the parents have to pay?
Well, I think there needs a bit of a common sense in this, Steve. I don't think everybody should get a freebie. But certainly I think parents of competitors, parents of athletes have a special case here, and they are the biggest supporters, not just showing up to the events, to the competition, but they're the ones who drive the kids to swimming pools at 4 o'clock in the morning and actually do all the hard yards to make sure that their kid can be a success. So I think they're entitled to share in that success reasonably, and I think it's up to, well, Swimming Australia in this case, but also the Australian Olympic Committee, and I think the International Olympic Committee, to actually ensure that parents and close family members can participate in the Olympics themselves by being there at a reasonable cost.
I agree with you 100%. James and Terry, thank you very much, particularly James out there in the cold, and Terry on the coldest day in Melbourne for the last 5 years. Thank you very much. That's it for me tonight. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow night, normal program at 6 o'clock. Thank you for your company tonight. Andrew Bolt with James McPherson is up next. I'll see you tomorrow night at 6.